Alright, so the Cleveland Cavaliers have yet again just made another pretty weird decision in my opinion. Not necessarily a bad signing at all. In fact, I do believe it was somewhat of a good signing, but it's also a little bit confusing in my opinion, and I'll get into that in a second. Now, the player that the Cleveland Cavaliers actually signed is actually Ed Davis from the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's being reported that the Cavaliers have signed Ed Davis to a contract. I believe it's non-guaranteed, and this is all being reported by J.D. Shaw. Now, I think there is a lot of really big issues that come around this. First of all is the Cleveland Cavaliers have brought in a lot of players that, are talented and potentially good at their, own things. For example, Lauri Markkanen. They brought him in, $16 to $18 million contract, great three-point shooter, can space the floor, power forward / center, mainly a power forward. He's terrible at defense, and of course he can be a slash. I don't necessarily want to say slasher, but it's not like he's not capable of going in for a dunk here and there, or driving the ball into the paint. Now, the issue with Lauri Markkanen is he's never been on a winning team or proven to help his team win. Then when we look at another player in Ricky Rubio, who they brought in, who I really, really rate by the Cavs, another thing you could look at too from him is that he's never been on a winning team, besides like the Utah Jazz, who he kind of joined when they were already starting to get really good. And you look at, the players that they had, he hasn't been on any winning teams. And look, you can argue whether or not that's his fault or, if it's Lauri Markkanen's fault. But you look at Ed Davis as well. He hasn't been on a couple of winning teams in a while either. And the list kind of goes on. It seems like the Cavaliers are, trying to make the playoffs, but they're bringing in a bunch of players who have been on losing teams for a long time and haven't, really done exactly too much to help their team win. And especially, Ricky Rubio's done stuff here and there, but he wasn't a great fit on Minnesota. He didn't really help them exactly too much at all. Even leadership-wise, you could say he did, but not on the court. Ed Davis, solid role player. He didn't help the Knicks out. He didn't help the Timberwolves out. You could say maybe he's a good mentor, a good leader, but he didn't help them win. Lauri Markkanen as well. He was a second option on the Bulls for quite a while. He didn't help them win that much, and then when he took a back seat this year and kind of became like a six-man type of dude, it didn't really help them win either. It's just a really big issue that I see where the Cavs are building. It's not necessarily, these players don't exactly need to be on the team either. Like, it's not like the Cavaliers needed to go and sign a backup power forward at all on big money, and they did. It's not exactly like they needed Ed Davis. The other issue I have with this as well is that, look, bringing in Ed Davis is cool and all, veteran leadership, and he might be a good role player for this team. But they should have brought in Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't comprehend why the Cleveland Cavaliers did not sign Isaiah Hartenstein. It really does hurt my head, considering how good Isaiah Hartenstein played for the Cavs at the end of the year. Like, in 18 minutes, I remember he was averaging, 8 and 6, and 3 or 4 assists. Really good numbers. And his defense wasn't the worst thing in the world either, and he slightly improved his defense more and more, and we've seen him with the Clippers in summer league, or training camp rather, the preseason, be way better at defense. And the Cavaliers just let him walk for no reason, and then decided to bring in a 10 plus year older dude in Davis. Why? I don't know. Look, bringing in Davis is cool and all, as I said, but they could have had Hartenstein. I think there's a way where both of these players could have been on the team, and that's if they straight away waived Mfiondu Kabengele and maybe even Taco Fall. Why didn't they waive Kabengele a while ago? They knew he wasn't going to be on this team long term. They knew he wasn't any good. Why keep him on? It's the big issue I have. And they ended up waiving him. They didn't end up getting Isaiah Hartenstein now. He's playing for the Clippers. He's proved he's an NBA player. If the Clippers decide they can't give him a contract, a team is going to offer him a 2-year deal or something. Everyone's seen his talent now. There's no way he's not. And I doubt he was going to come back to the Cavs now because we didn't bring him back in the first place. Again, those are my negatives I have with the signings. The positives I have with this signing is that Ed Davis is still a veteran dude that can come in and maybe help out the Cavaliers with some veteran leadership. I've been very critical of the Cavs not bringing in veteran leadership before. For example, when they brought in Channing, Fry, everyone was like, oh, Channing Frye, veteran leadership. Kevin Love, veteran leadership for this team. Tristan Thompson, veteran leadership. George Hill would have been veteran leadership as well. The really funny thing is they all were saying that, and I was saying, look, none of these guys are going to be veteran leaderships at all. And what ended up actually being the case was, and I know a lot of you Cavs fans who've been a Cavs fan for quite a while, in the last couple of years, remember this, is when they brought in Channing Frye, it was the strangest thing ever. Channing Frye's behavior was so weird. It seemed like he was brought in to be a mentor and a leader, but instead, it kind of just seemed like he did not help the younger guys like Colin Sexton or, Jordan Clarkson at the time, Jetty Osman, Larry Nance. He did not help them, those guys out at all. Instead, choosing just to be, best mates with kind of Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson and hang out with them, all the time. Like, I legitimately dare you to go out and try and find a video of Channing Frye mentoring Colin Sexton or hanging out with the younger guys and teaching them some stuff. You won't find it. The Cavaliers brought in bad mentors for a long time. They decided to keep George Hill, who I don't think was a bad mentor. I just think he deserved to be playing on a winning team. That's fair enough. They decided to contract Kevin Love, who, for a long time, Kevin Love still thought he was a star and the star of the team when he could barely get his body right. And again, was one of those guys that thought the Cavaliers should have continued with the veteran, players on the team. While I think Double T was never a leader. He should have never been put in that position. And look, I don't hate Double T for that at all. I actually think Double T was put in a position he never wanted to be in. But Kevin Love would have damn well been contract extended, known he's going to be the leader of this team and needs to show veteran leadership. And Channing Frye would have been brought to the team to have veteran leadership as well. Instead, they never did anything. In fact, I think it's only just now that Kevin Love is starting to show some veteran leadership. And you see signs with him saying that he will now, play off the bench and help out, some of the younger guys. And he knows there'll be nights where he might not get a minute. And that he's ready to help out the younger dudes. Like, that's the veteran leadership I've been looking for Kevin Love in a while. For a while. We've never seen him, talk or behave like this. A couple of years ago, he said he was going to help out the younger kids, but never did anything to help them out. I'm very surprised to see Kevin Love has kind of changed his ways. While Channing Frye, I'll forever never understand how he kind of came into the team and behaved like, how he did. It was brought in to be a veteran leader, but instead I don't think ever spoke to the young guys really at all. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I think a lot of you Cavs fans know, a lot of the stuff was like that. And again, there's a bunch of other examples like that, but it looks like the Cavaliers are finally bringing in some veterans that understand their role. Ed Davis is probably being brought in to straight away help out Darius Garland and those younger dudes and help out the big man like Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Look, some people, Davis hasn't been a good player in quite a while. But that doesn't mean he's not a good coach. There's been a lot of examples like that, like a bunch of, NBA coaches that weren't good players, but they still were able to see the floor, differently and, coach it. They just couldn't perform it on the court. Again, Davis might be one of those dudes that might still have a lot to provide in terms of teaching these players some new stuff. And that's what I'm hoping to see him do. I'm hoping to see him, dedicate his whole entire time with the Cavaliers teaching. And hey, will he get a minute? I'm not exactly too sure because Jarrett Allen, Mobley, are the two dudes that will probably be playing about 33 minutes per game. And then you got Kevin Love and Markkanen, who'll probably be playing around I'd say Markkanen's probably going to be playing 23 minutes off the bench, and Love might play 15 or so. I'm not exactly too sure how they're going to kind of work that out. But hey, that's going to be a situation right there. So look, one of them might get injured and Davis might get some minutes here and there, but I don't really know. I think they're going to just give the minutes Markkanen, and Markkanen might have a bunch of 30-minute games here and there. Plus, they might continuously move. Jetty Osman might play a bit of power forward. Even though he sucks at playing power forward, he's a terrible small-to-ball defender. He might, do some stuff there. But hey, Davis might average 5 minutes per game, because, hey, he might be subbed on the last couple minutes, and he might, fill in for some injuries here and there. But as I was saying, some people might think that I've been negative this whole video, but I'm just kind of voicing out my frustrations. A lot of Cavs fans have the same frustrations. But one thing I'm really happy that Koby Altman has learned from here is he's actually bringing in a veteran that looks like will hopefully know his role. None of that Channing Frye crap. No one wants to see a Channing Frye type player again who is a veteran that comes on a young team, who does not help the young kids out at all and just talks to the older players. It just does all that. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I'm sure most of you know what I mean. It's really good to see the Cavs finally doing that. I still really hope that somehow they can bring in Hartenstein. If I was the Cavs, look, I'm waving Taco Fall immediately. I know Taco Fall's a fan favorite and apparently a good locker room dude, but hey, he's done terrible in preseason. He's done legitimately nothing except getting a hand-fed layup here and there. If the opportunity came where Isaiah Hartenstein could be gotten on a minimum contract, a year guaranteed, please do it, Cleveland, because who knows, Jarrett Allen or someone might get injured in the year and Hartenstein might be looking for minutes. But hey, will it happen? I'm not exactly too sure. But, the main thing the Cavs need to do now is, get a wing forward, get a dude that can guard the 2, 3, and the 4, like a 6'8", 6'7" type dude. Like Cam Reddish, who could guard the 2, guard the 3, and guard small ball 4. Just do it, Cleveland. It needs to happen. I guess, no more big man is what I'm trying to say. No more big man at all, except the exception of Hartenstein. Because I'm really sad that Hartenstein's career ended, didn't end in Cleveland, for the time being. I thought he was actually really good for us. So, hey, no big man unless it's Isaiah Hartenstein or an all-star. I don't know. But hey, something's got to change. I don't know. Ed Davis, although I think does actually bring some veteran presence and is a good signing, I guess. But, of course, I would very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA news and NBA content. Of course, don't forget to comment your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Go subscribe to my other channels. Check out my podcast channel as well if you haven't already, which will be linked in the description down below. And comment your thoughts and opinions. Was Ed Davis a good signing? Should they have signed someone else? Of course, I would very much like to know. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.